Hey everyone, this is Caro, your host, and we are back in Shuffle Dating Podcast with Andy Tratner. Hi Andy, how are you?
Hi, Gato. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Hello, everyone.
Welcome back, I will say, because you are the one who started the podcast.
I'm so happy that you're running it now. I'm overjoyed that I do not have to worry about it anymore. But I'm happy to come back whenever. I can co-host interviews. I can appear as a guest. Thank you so much for producing and running the show.
Okay. I thought that you like it, but I am enjoying it as well. I'm meeting a lot of interesting people. I really like it. So I wanted to do this episode with you because people know you from the first couple of episodes that we have, but you never introduced yourself. So would you like to talk a little bit about yourself and tell people what do you do in Shuffle?
Yeah, so I'm one of the two co-founders. I am currently acting as our COO, Chief Operations Officer, and also our CTO, Chief Technology Officer. But those titles don't really mean anything. Austin and I kind of collaborate to just run the company, build the team, and scale our business so we can help more people find love. I mostly focus internally on running the events, doing customer service, helping our team find fulfillment in their work and know what they're doing on a daily basis. With the product, I help design new features and make sure that they're implemented with our engineering team, constantly looking at customer feedback. If there's any escalated customer cases where people are mad at us or they can't get the money refunded or something, then I'm there helping out. So people may have seen my name if they're emailing us or calling us or anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. That means that you are the one who is replying to the emails if someone is angry. You are the one who is responsible for the friends button that we just launched a couple of weeks ago. And you are the one who helped Austin not to die running this company, basically.
Yeah, Austin does marketing and runs the ads and sales and coordinates with the venues, does all the external things, and then I just do everything else.
Okay.
The friend button, I will say, is a collaboration. I didn't really do too much. All of our customers every week were telling us, I want an option to friend other people. So I just kind of took that feedback, and then Austin told me, hey, we need to build this friend button. I was like, oh, okay, the boss told me we got to do it. And then I told our engineer, hey, can you build it? And I just drew some rectangles and they worked out.
The rectangles were very important, I promise you. Can you tell me a little bit more how did you got involved in Shuffle? How did you met Austin? How did the idea come? Because we know that he was running chess events in Seattle and Portland when the idea of speed dating came out. So how did you get involved in Shuffle?
Yeah, I mean, Austin definitely had the idea. I was around for the before and after. So we originally met in high school, and to be honest, I don't really remember it. He remembers it better than me. I guess we played in like the state chess championship for the Oregon. Yeah, he was also in Portland. It was the Oregon High School State Chess Championships, and he beat me. It was my one loss in this tournament. I think I won 4 out of my 5 games. And I didn't remember who I lost to, but I guess it was Austin. And we can go back and it's on the internet. You can see the results. I think it was him. And fun fact is Alexandra Botez of the Botez sisters also played in our Portland or high school league in that area. So all of our names are there. And yeah, I don't remember anything, but for him, he said it was like the highlight of his chess career because I was kind of significantly higher rated. I was kind of like the top rated high school senior or whatever. So he was really excited to beat me. And we didn't really talk at all during or before or after that, but he remembered, I guess. And then when he was starting to think about entrepreneurial ideas, I guess he had kind of followed me a little bit and saw that I went to MIT and like worked at some tech companies. And so he just reached out saying, hey, I don't know if you remember me. We played chess a while ago. I saw that you do tech stuff and I have some ideas. And he originally reached out about a chess app. It's hard to build these like businesses where you try to build a network effect because there's this marketplace problem and you have to kind of seed the network. And this one's also local. So there's a lot of reasons why it's challenging. And also it's chess. It's like very niche. And the question is like, who's going to pay for this? And my input to Austin was like, here's all these things that you could do. I think you should start it by using spreadsheets and like not really invest in building an app right away. And I probably am not interested in helping you build this business because it's not going to make any money. So then the next time I heard from him was like 4 or 6 months later. And he said, hey, I'm done with that chess thing. I decided it's not the right thing. And I'm doing this speed dating and it's kind of working. So to me, that sounded a lot more promising. I personally was also trying to date at the time and very frustrated with apps, and it sounded really interesting. And I said, yeah, tell me more about like your traction and what you've been up to. And he said, yeah, it's super manual. I copy and paste like from this spreadsheet into my iMessage and have all these formulas. He's like, do you think we could automate this XYZ? And I said, yeah, it's definitely possible. It happened at the time that this was spring 2023. At that time, I was also shutting down my former company. I was building a payments business in Ecuador, and it wasn't really working out as I had hoped. And I had a team of engineers who were really good, and I wanted to keep working with them. And I was looking for projects so that I could pay my team and build basically apps or websites for people. Mm-hmm. And also we had a designer on our team, Joshua, who you met, and he was a really good designer. So I just really wanted to keep working with my team, and I was looking for projects, and Austin was looking for someone to help him. Mostly I was consulting as a friend, and he was like trying to find an in-house CTO, someone with tech experience to just build it with him. But I think he had trouble finding people, and I was like the only option or the best option at some point. It took a while for us to decide on this. And then we finally kind of aligned on the structure. Basically, he just paid me and my team to build Shuffle's first prototype, and it took a few months. I was really excited to have it working, so I flew to Portland to help him deploy it live, and we ran the first events in July, I think, or end of June or beginning of July 2023, about a year ago. I was in Portland for a couple weeks and collaborating with him on setting it up, making it work for those events. And then at that time, it was hard for me to find other projects, and it was also kind of expensive for Austin. He didn't really want to build much else with us. And so I decided to kind of wind down my other team. I helped my engineers find jobs at other places, and Austin wanted help growing Shuffle to other cities. And so I ended up joining full-time at that point as a co-founder.
Nice. Yeah, I remember when you told me that you were coming to Portland. I remember you saying like, oh, I'm leaving Ecuador and I'm going to Portland. So yeah, time flies. So what makes you decide that Austin idea with Shuffle dating and with this idea of having like a remote host might work better than the normal speed dating events? Because that's one of the main difference with Shuffle.
Yeah, it's a good question. When I was thinking of working with Austin, and again, that process took a while. Like at first, I was just a paid software contractor, just building stuff for him on a paid basis and not really being involved in the business or doing any customer support. My first question was like, does this work? Because he was telling me it worked, but I was like, show me. I want to go and like go to some of these events and like talk to a bunch of customers. So something I did in Portland for those couple of weeks initially was Austin and I sat down with a bunch of customers and just who had gone to events, and some of them had gone to multiple events, and we asked like a lot of feedback questions. How was it? What do you think? How does it compare to other things? And it was really powerful for me to sit down face to face with someone and have them like just tell me, this is so much better than the apps that I've been using. It's like my favorite way I've found to date people. It's not perfect. There's a lot to improve. Here are some things I think could be improved, but the feedback from customers who had already tried it was very positive. And so it kind of validated what Austin was telling me, that he thought it was useful. And I asked him, like, did you ever go to one of your events? Have you seen one of these live? And he's like, actually, no, I just sit in my living room and run them. So I was like, what the heck, man? Like, you got to go to some events. So I went to some events. And I participated also in some, and I thought it was the most impactful 2 hours of dating I had ever spent. My first event that I went to, I was kind of lucky. I have since gone to events where I got 0 matches, but for that first event, I happened to get 4 matches with women there, and I went on follow-up dates with 3 of them, and they were really like great connections. So I just felt like it was so much better than swiping on Tinder or Hinge or whatever for weeks, and then you try to like message someone for I don't know how many hours, and then eventually maybe you go on a date, they might ghost you. It's just like, but instead of it's just paying, $25 to go to one event, you just show up, you're there, in 10 minutes you have someone you're going to go on a date with that you've already met, you already know you like them. It was just such a transformative thing for me personally that I thought it was really cool to share with others. So I really believed in the product. That was the first step, is for me, do I believe in this product as a user, as a customer? And once I had that, I was pretty much sold. The other question for me is like, is this actually going to be a good business? And that is a challenging question. because dating is a very tough space to run a business in. Most people who try are often doing it from like a technology perspective. They're trying to build like the next dating app. They're like, oh, I hate Tinder. Let me build a better version or a better app. And that's hard as a business because you're trying to offer this free thing and people don't have any commitment and they don't pay. And that's one of the issues with dating apps is people are not really committed. And so I thought the event model, just in the whole dating space, but I thought that the approach that Austin had was very unique. And I'm not necessarily convinced because we do get customer feedback saying, if you had a host on site, this event would be so much better. I would love to have someone to talk to. Like, it's kind of weird that you guys are not here. Like, what if something happens? I think there's a lot of downsides to not having a host, and it's actually very operationally difficult to run events like this, but we've found a way to do it and we're always looking to improve, and it kind of just works, and it helps the business be scalable and allow us to have these experiences that overall people find are good. And as I said, customers were telling me it's good enough. It like serves a purpose. It helps me. And so for us, it's kind of this sweet spot of conditions that make it worth going for. And again, it's not in the dating space or in the tech startup space. For me as like a tech startup guy, like I've worked at like these unicorn companies with hyper growth. We're explicitly not that. We are a small business. Like, we are not a startup. We're not a C Corp. We don't have a ton of investors. We're not trying to become $100 billion Google, Amazon type company. So I think it's really important to know when starting a company or entering a company at a very early stage, what kind of journey we're on. And Austin and I were very aligned from the outset that we just kind of want to be able to pay ourselves, to pay our team, to help our customers and grow really slowly. I think we are still growing pretty fast, all things considered, but we're not, have many millions of dollars of revenue and have like a 500 person team. This idea right now is pretty small and limited in scope, which allows us to really focus on what we're doing and try to do it well and try to do it with the resources we have. And we're not trying to be something that doesn't make sense. Like, we tried to get into Y Combinator. They rejected us. They said, no, guys, the market's not there. Like, you should try a different idea. Big investors want you to shut down this kind of company and do something else. And for us, it's interesting because, we have this like tech-enabled idea, but we're not a tech company. We're not like a Uber. We are just running events and hopefully people continue to like them.
I think that's very interesting compared to like the other option that is dating apps, right? Because, and this was my follow-up question, how do you felt when you get like that first text or that first message saying like, hey, I need to cancel my ticket because I met someone through Shuffle and I want to go see where it goes? Because we have a very specific test that we send, and I think it's like the cutest thing ever. But that shows like the essence of Shuffle is not really scaling it up. It's helping people finding that partner or right now like connections, but really. How do you feel about it?
Well, I feel great that we have people connecting. The last time, we don't really track this very much. Like what we do internally is we're tracking, did people enjoy the event they went to? And that's really the only thing that's within our control. If the results are good, that's great. And I remember, I think in February, 3 people emailed us, individuals that said, hey, I'm like dating this person. I need to cancel my tickets. Like, that's awesome to hear. We love that we're able to help people on their love journey. I know there's other episodes in this podcast that talk about that. I'd love people to listen to those and give us more stories. Like, we'd love to hear it. In the future, we could be more aggressive on following up, like, hey, who got married? Like, whatever. But right now, we're just trying to provide good, fun events that people enjoy. And I think this goes back to, well, to answer your question directly, I love this. I'm so happy when I hear of like people that even just enjoyed the event, even if they don't get any matches or whatever. But if they get a match and they like date, like that is so incredible. And I felt that myself as a user. Like, I've gone on dates from Shuffle and it's just so nice when that pays off. But it's hard. It's like, that doesn't always happen. And something that's different from with our company versus these big platforms is if a customer churns off of like they stop being part of our customer base because they've found love. Well, all dating companies kind of hope to just survive. And then we don't want you to break up or anything. But if you happen to have issues or whatever, and you're single 10 years down the line, you can always come back. So the door is kind of open. I don't necessarily think we lose customers if we take this very long-term view. Hopefully we do. Hopefully these people, find the one, get married, become old, whatever, together. But the door isn't always closed on these customers. For these bigger platforms, you do kind of have to worry. Whereas for us, we are so small. People pay to go to our events. There's only dozens or hundreds of singles in each city right now that are going to events each month. That might increase to thousands. But even if thousands of people in New York are going to our events, New York's such a big city that it's only like less than 1% of the singles there. And so even if we lose customers, for us, from our perspective being so small, there's almost an infinite supply of new customers that we could interact with. So we don't feel like we're limited. Whereas if you're a Tinder or someone or Bumble or some platform that has like millions and millions of users, if you do lose some of those people, it's almost like they're not coming back because everyone has you downloaded. It's like, where are the new people? It's like you kind of have to go international or something. But the dynamics of our small business are so focused and so targeted on people who are willing to pay to go to an event. And we're not like ever, I don't know if we're ever going to be, installed and downloaded on every single person's phone. I think with a different product, with like maybe a dating app or some other product in the future that we could build, we might. But for the events and the speed dating that we're currently doing, that's not really an issue for us. So we're happy when people find love and leave us, and we can go find someone else who's looking for love and bring them in to our little ecosystem.
Great. So my next question is, and we see a lot of feedback about this, is that our events sold out really fast, especially in cities like Seattle. So can you explain a little bit how the logistics work? How do we plan the events, especially in the themes part or like the queer events, so people can understand a little bit more of how we supply them and they don't worry that we are leaving anyone behind, basically?
Yeah, we definitely hear a lot of feedback about this. We want to improve this a lot. We know we can do a lot better. Someday we might have an app that gives you like push notifications when spots are available. Maybe there's like a way to reserve tickets in advance, or like we could screen so that new customers get first priority on events so that these return customers who always open their email and book immediately, we get more like cycling in the user pool. We want to make our events as available as we can to everyone, but we've just found, and we're just in the first year basically of growing the business, and it's just easiest for us internally to manage because we're running so many events all over the country. It's very complicated. And so improving the sign-up process is something we'll do in the long term. But in the next few months, in the next year even, I don't know how much better we can really meaningfully do. Unfortunately, there are user populations that are just way more aggressive with signups. So like young men in Seattle, like men below age 29 or 30, like below age 30, young men in Seattle just sign up a lot, and there's just more of them. Yeah, it's just like people sign up really fast, and I'm sorry that I was living in Seattle. I'm 28. I was 27 when I was living there. And yeah, if I tried to go to an event, it was really hard. I had to like open my email immediately. And I don't know that there's really even a solution for this. In Washington, D.C., there's like more women, especially in their like 30 to 40 age range. There's just a lot more women than men in that age range. And so it's very competitive for them to get spots and signups. Yeah, I'm really sorry that it is this way. The reason that we do it this way is we prefer events to be booked rather than having spots available. Because if there's spots available when we start the event, that means that one side or both sides are missing dates. And it's a better experience for people who go to events if you have, 7 to 9 people that you're going to meet guaranteed. And as soon as you lose some of those, if it's 5 or 4 people, you just don't get as many dates, and you might have break rounds. And then you're kind of like, why am I even here? I'm sitting with twiddling my thumbs for half of the event. And so as a company, we kind of have to try to provide the best experience we can. And the way that we do that is by having these events. We basically host slightly fewer events than we have demand for. So we have more demand than we have events, and that means that the events book out. It is challenging for the sign-up side, but it's just the trade-off that we have to make due to these logistics so that we can ensure everyone has a full slate of dates when they do go to an event. That said, something that will be better in the future is if we can target our marketing in these different cities to fill those age ranges and difficult to find groups. Like we haven't done very much. We could go post flyers in like retirement homes there's a lot more older women and fewer older guys above age 40 or 50. And we want more older guys. So we could go like put a bunch of posters in retirement homes for those guys to sign up and help the women find more guys. We could go to college campuses and post more flyers targeted at women. And there's a lot of like things we want to do in the future, but we just haven't had the resources to be able to do this. And ultimately we're running a business. Unfortunately, it's not like a community service project where we can just try to help everyone. I mean, people should go like petition their local government if they're not happy with their quality of life, and like if they need more incentives to like start a family or something. Like that's not our scope. We are not here to fix society. Hot take. We're here to make money. We're trying to do that. And we think the best way to do that is by having happy customers. So we want our customers to have a great time at our events. We are improving their waitlist though. So the waitlist very soon, within the next, I want to say, within the next 3 months, I think we're going to launch an update where the waitlist is ordered, and we have an automatic system that gives you like a ping, like an email or a text message that says, hey, for the next 2 hours or for the next 6 hours, we're reserving the spot for you. And then that should help people be able to sign up with like more advanced notice and in a more fair way, as opposed to rewarding the people who are just internet dwellers on their phones constantly and signing up immediately. Like it's unfortunate. I agree. Like I don't like this because I'm never on my phone. I don't get notifications on my phone when stuff happens. People have to call me. So I would never succeed in this world. So I totally understand how people want better sign up systems, and it's something we're working on and always trying to be mindful of, but it's just tough.
No, for sure. I think it's also tough for the all ops team when we get Help Scout duty on the email blast day. You guys will see all our names because all of us work on that day. But yeah, it's quite fun to meet you all.
That's something else we can improve, by the way, is right now we send this giant email blast to all of our customers. This is something we definitely should do, is we can segment that list a little better and ask people, hey, how often do you want to receive these? And we don't really know who people are, actually. So our email list is it's just a list of emails. Like we don't know what age or what gender. So there's some
it's a little bit basic.
It's very basic and it's a big blast. And so I'm really sorry that that's how it works, but we're just like a 1-year-old company struggling to survive. And this is just how it is for now.
We are babies still. You love us, but we are still babies. So we have talked a little bit about Shuffle, and as well as I did with Austin, I would like our customers and listeners to know a little bit about you. So you were living in Ecuador, and I know quite a bit. I would like you to talk a little bit about what were you doing here, about your dating life, what were you frustrating with the dating apps, and I don't know, hobbies. I know that you're not a homebody like Austin. I know you do way more than he does. But yeah.
Shots fired.
I mean, he said he stays in his house all day. In his house all day.
Oh, sorry. To repeat the question, what is my personal life like and how has my dating journey been? Is that your question?
Yes.
Because I can talk about the residence thing. I mean, I'm an American citizen. I grew up in Wisconsin, went to college in Boston and worked in San Francisco. So I've lived all over the US. I also lived for a sec in Spain. And then most recently I was in Ecuador from 2020 till 2023 to work on Shuffle. I moved back to the US and now I'm living in Singapore. So I'm in Asia, but my dating journey, I wrote a blog post about this actually, if people want to check out andytratner.com. There's like a little overview of my love story. But basically, I was single like my whole life. I was scared to talk to women and just awkward and nerdy and focused on school. I wanted to like get a good job, get my engineering degree, and have some financial stability. And as a kid, I always thought dating, the purpose of it was to find like a marriage partner. So I kind of naively told myself, well, if you're not ready to get married, then there's no point in dating. So yeah, I was just super like I didn't kiss anyone in high school. Girls asked me to the prom. There was one girl who I ended up kissing, but she and I were cast in the play. So it was kind of orchestrated where I
So you were a theater kid?
No,
so
I just did it once. I did it once on these people's request. And then I happened to get cast with, this is one of the girls who asked me to prom. And then I got cast in a scene with her where there was a kiss. I think they were trying to help me because I was so clueless.
Cute.
So that was my like one romantic interaction was, and I think I was like a neurodivergent character, which was probably correct. I started dating more seriously after I had my first kind of stable job and I was living in San Francisco. So this is around 2020, I think, is when I kind of downloaded some apps and realized that having a family doesn't mean you have like a strict trade-off against your personal goals. And ideally, if you have like good communication with your partner, it's just a net positive to have a partner in your life. So I kind of changed some mental models and decided like I'll be happier in the long run if I can find someone who really fits well with me. And I don't know why that wasn't obvious to me before, but I think your brain gets more developed around age like 25 for men. Like
Yeah,
their puberty is super
everyone.
slow. Yeah.
Not
But
everyone is
especially
supposed.
guys, dumb guys like me. So yeah, when I was in
Everyone
Ecuador,
is
it was,
supposed.
what was that?
Everyone is supposed to get like the frontal lobe developed by 25. So everything before 25, it can be justified by your brain not being developed.
But it's funny because I would never have said that because I thought I was like smart and mature. So prior to age 25, I would have said, yeah, that thing doesn't apply to me. Like I've been fully developed since I was 18. Like I would have all these arguments, but clearly that was not true. And now I would say I'm just a dumb, underdeveloped brain guy until around 25. Yeah, it tracks. Post 25 Andy tells pre 25 Andy your brain doesn't work. And it's true. So since then, I've been open to finding someone, and I think a longer term relationship makes a lot more sense to me. I've had enough like kind of casual encounters where it's not something I want in this phase of my life. So I think that was part of the 25-year-old maturity difference. So sorry, I'm just rambling. In Ecuador, I think dating was tough for me. There's like some cultural differences. I definitely felt like a foreigner in some situations, and it's just kind of difficult. Ecuador is a small country, and just like the socioeconomic backgrounds are different. Like you just find different kinds of people in the US, and I guess my peer group is like very high achieving, like type A kind of like work in New York finance or like the best tech companies in Silicon Valley. And it's just harder to find those kind of people in Latin America in general, but especially Ecuador. Like I think Bogota or Medellin or Ciudad de Mexico or Buenos Aires, like there's a lot of other cities that are more, or Sao Paulo, that are more kind of metropolis and kind of more of the type of people who will be a better fit for me because I'm weird and picky and neurotic. And I think people in Ecuador are more just like happy-go-lucky and normal, which is great. And I really enjoyed hanging out with folks there, but I just had a hard time finding my crowd. And that was part of me wanting to go back to the US and meet more people who I had a higher chance of finding a long-term fit with.
Yeah, that's true. I think in general, like Latin American culture can be a little bit more laid back. That doesn't say that there is no like your high achievers, because there are. But in general, we tend to be more laid back in life, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, but that bleeds into just very small things that for me are like deal breakers. It's like if you show up 15 minutes late to our first date and like have no reasoning, it's just like, oh yeah, like it's because I was on the bus. Like people will give these reasons that are not really reasons.
Yeah.
And for me, that was constantly frustrating because I want to be 5 minutes early. And so I think for like a life partner situation, there's specific behaviors that I just had a hard time filtering for and finding. I would try to filter in like these chats on like Tinder and stuff, but yeah, it's tough.
No, it is hard. Like I'm still dating here, so it is very difficult. So I agree. But yeah, so a part of your dating life and a part of chess, because you said like you were a very high ranked chess player. What else do you like to do in your free time?
What do I like to do? Well, I'm reading a great book at the moment. I used to read a ton as a kid, and in the last few years, I've read about 2 books total. So I have stopped reading, and now I'm finally like picking it up again a little bit. And I used to read any book that was there, and then recently I've been just so much more picky, and I'll just like stop reading books and just not be interested in books. So I think my criteria to select books is different, and I'm working on that.
Question: how do you do that? Don't you feel bad about stopping reading a book?
Exactly. So that's why I just didn't read at all, because I felt bad about stopping. But now I think I'm coming to terms with the fact that no, there's just books that are good for me to read and that I enjoy, and I should just find those. So if a book, and same thing with Netflix, like I've been watching some TV shows with my girlfriend, and we watched like 3 different movies on Netflix 2 days ago. We were trying to find a movie to watch, and we're like, we spent so much time searching. We spent like an hour just like looking through titles, watching trailers, and I always have to look at the Rotten Tomatoes score because that's my go-to metric. And it was just taking so long. So this time what we tried was we're just like, okay, just gonna pick one. We'll start watching it. If we don't like it, we'll stop. And we stop movies kind of periodically anyways to like go get a drink or have like a popcorn or chocolate or go to the bathroom. So we kind of naturally have these pause points. So like 30 minutes in, 20 minutes in, we're like, yeah, we don't like this one. Let's choose a different one. And we like jump to a different one. So I think I'm learning how to do this in life and also for our company, right? If you're investing in a project that's not working, you kind of have to be flexible at switching. And I would say I'm better at this than most people. Like with my living situation, I kind of spontaneously will fly somewhere and go live there. So I think I've had some practice, but it has not been applied to books. And so I'm learning how to do that. I guess other stuff, I like to play poker. I like to travel. I do kind of consume content, specifically the All In podcast. I love this podcast and related things. I went to the All In Summit last year, which was interesting, and I don't recommend it. Sorry, besties. I talk to my friends. I have quite a few, people. It's hard to keep in touch with them all. Occasionally I'll scroll through LinkedIn or something. I try to avoid social media to have time for other things. Tonight I'm going to go play tennis with a friend I met here, this German guy. He crushed me last time. It was like 6-1 in terms of games. He won 6 games and I won the first one, and then he didn't give me a chance. But it was fun. It was a good workout. I got to sweat. I like to work out. I run. I lift weights. Try to do that once every 3 or 4 days. What else? Eating food. I love eating food. There's a lot of Asian food that I've never tried here in Singapore. So I had this like fried rice noodle that I used to have as a child because my mom's from China, but I haven't had it since childhood. And I've never seen it in any restaurants. But there's one restaurant here that has this dish that I remember my mom cooking. And it was like such a miracle. So I live for these experiences of like cheap, delicious food that makes me happy. Spending time with my girlfriend. I mean, we're building a relationship together, and that's an investment. I cook. I like to cook. I'm learning how to shop for clothes. I recently bought some shorts. It's like the first time in 4 years. And all my previous ones were like hand-me-downs. So yeah, just life. Take walks around the neighborhood when I'm sick of staring at my screen.
Sounds like a very active life. That's quite cool, I would say. More active than most of your team's life, I will definitely say. Maybe not more than Val's, but everyone else. Well, we're almost running out of time. So anything else you would like to say to the listeners of the podcast?
So for the listeners, I don't really know who's listening. So tell us if you're listening. Send us an email and tell us what you like. Tell us what you want to see more of. hi@shuffle.dating or Andy@shuffle.dating or Caro @shuffle.dating.
No, you will create too many emails. I think it will be easier if they send a DM to the Instagram.
Well, but you could assign those to me or something. Yeah, okay. I guess. I want to see you asked me.
You
what
want
I
to see it? See. Okay.
I want to see
Send an
listeners
email
saying, hi, Andy.
Hi, Andy. I listened to your episode.
Tell us your favorite episode.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It would help us, I think, right? Because I don't know if we have much feedback. We don't have much data. Like, who are these 60 people like listening to our episodes?
Oh, now it's like 82 at this point, I think.
But you're right. I think DM us on Instagram and let us know, how we're doing, what you like, what you want to see more of, and hang in there. I think I'll tell people to be patient with themselves, be patient with the dating process. I think things come when you're ready for it. And if you just keep working on yourself, if you listen to these other episodes with like dating coaches that we've done, and if you just go out there, try one of our events, try a couple, because the results can vary a lot. So even if you don't get a match, there's some events where nobody gets any matches, and there's some events where everybody gets one or more matches. And that seems a little random. We have new people coming to each event each time, so we have no idea how they'll go. And so try a couple before you decide it's not right for you. And also do things socially, like go join a neighborhood basketball game or volleyball or whatever you like to do, and put yourself out there and have a fun time, and don't take anything too personally or seriously. It took me 28 years to achieve a relationship, so yeah, it takes some time.
Okay, that's true. It takes time. I agree with that one. Thank you so much for coming to this episode.
Thanks, Caro.